The Zarnai had watched Earth for a long time. They were an old and wise species living far across the stars. Their ships were invisible and their thoughts were quiet. They never spoke to humans, never touched Earth. They believed in peace, in waiting, in watching. To them, humans were still young, loud, angry, and always fighting. From space, Earth looked beautiful. Blue oceans, green lands, white clouds. But the Zarnai could see deeper. They saw war. They saw humans build bombs and send rockets into space. They saw smoke rise from cities and fire fall from the sky. The Council of Zarnai gathered to talk. Their tall, glowing forms stood in silence before one another. At the center was Elder Maroon, the oldest of them all. His voice was calm, like the wind before a storm. "They are not ready," Maroon said. "Humans are full of fear. They fight even their own kind. But we will not harm them. We will not kill them." Some of the younger Zarnai didn't agree. One of them was called Tyrol. His eyes were bright with worry. "But what if they find us?" Tyrol asked. "What if they become too strong?" Maroon looked at him and spoke softly. "Then we will still not harm them. If we kill them out of fear, we become the very monsters they think we are." So the council voted. No contact, no attacks, no warnings. Let humans grow on their own. Let them learn. Years passed. Earth changed. The wars grew worse. A great fire burned through a continent. Cities fell. Water turned black. Yet the Zarnai did nothing. Tyrol watched from his quiet ship in the dark sky, his heart heavy. He wanted to believe in peace. He wanted to believe that humans would change. Then, one quiet day, something strange happened. A signal came from Earth. It was not music. It was not science. It was words, clear, strong, and full of emotion. It traveled across space, found its way past defenses, and reached the nearest Zarnai station. The message was short. Just one sentence. "We know you're watching." Tyrol froze. The Zarnai station fell silent. No one spoke for many seconds. How could this be? The humans were not supposed to know. The signal carried no weapon, no code, but it felt dangerous. The council gathered again. Maroon looked older now, his light dimmer. "This is not possible," one Zarnai whispered. "No species has ever found us before." Tyrol stood up. "Maybe we waited too long," he said. "Maybe they grew faster than we thought," the council argued. Some wanted to answer. Some wanted to move away from the human sector. One, a fearful elder, even said they should destroy. Earth before humans became a threat. Maroon shook his head. "We made a vow," he said. "We will not kill them. Not now. Not ever." But even as he said the words, the stars around Earth were no longer quiet. Strange new ships moved through. The dark, they did not look like Earth ships. They were smoother, darker, stronger. And they flew without sound. On one of them, deep inside, a voice spoke to itself. "They didn't answer," it said. "Good. Then we will come to them." Tyrol watched from his post, his eyes wide with fear and wonder. "What have they done?" he whispered. He opened the human signal again, playing it slowly, listening to the tone, to the meaning behind the words. They were not a cry for help. They were not a message of peace. They were a warning. And then, as if to make the silence even louder, Earth sent a second signal. It said only one thing. "This time, we are watching you." The council fell quiet once more. The stars around Earth blinked as if afraid to shine too bright. Tyrol looked up at the great sky, his mind full of questions. Had they waited too long? Had peace been a mistake? Were the humans still behind them? Or already far ahead? No one had answers, only the silence of space. And in that silence something moved, something human, something new. And it was coming. The message from Earth changed everything. The Zarnai were a calm and quiet race, but now they were afraid. For the first time in 1,000 years, the council met twice in one moon cycle. No one smiled. No one floated with ease. Even the air inside their crystal chamber felt heavy. The humans had spoken, not just once, but twice. "We know you're watching." This time we are watching you. How? How did they find the Zarnai? Their cloaking fields were perfect. Their ships were hidden in the dark. No light, no sound, no trace. No species had ever seen through it. Not even close. Elder Maroon sat still, his eyes closed. There is only one way this could happen, he said slowly. Someone broke the vow. Gasps filled the chamber. Zarnai did not lie, they did not cheat, and they did not touch younger races. That was the rule. It was the vow that held their empire together. But now, something had changed. Someone had spoken to the humans. Maroon looked around. His voice was calm, but sharp like ice. Who among us went to Earth? At first, no one answered. Then slowly, Tyrol stood. His glow was soft, almost dim. Not I, he said. But there was a name in the signal. A name that does not belong to humans. A name from our own records. He raised a small data crystal. A blue light danced in the air. The name appeared in clear Zarnai script. Vilos. The chamber turned cold. Vilos had left long ago. He was a seeker, an explorer, one of the few allowed to observe life up close. But he never returned. They thought he was dead, or lost in time. Now his name was back. In a human signal. Find everything we know about him, Maroon ordered. Now. Tyrol worked fast. His fingers moved across floating symbols. The crystal chamber filled with old images. Velos on a green world speaking to creatures with fur, with feathers, with hands. Then the last image. Earth. A human city, a burning building, and Vilos standing over a small child holding out a shining stone. He gave them something, Tyrol whispered. He helped them. One of the younger council members shook with fear. If the humans studied that stone, if they learned from it, they might have unlocked our secrets. Another added, that could explain their strange ships, their message, their technology. The council fell into silence. Far away in the cold space near Earth, a ship appeared. It was not large. It didn't look like a warship, but it was moving fast, too fast for human tech, and it flew without fuel. It glowed with a blue light that no Zarnai had ever seen in human designs. Tyrol watched the screens in shock. That's not possible, he said. It's flying with a quantum drive. That's our technology. The ship stopped just outside. The invisible Zarnai defense line. Then it sent a signal, not to Earth, not to open space, but directly to the Zarnai frequency. The voice was human, calm, young, confident. We come in peace. We only want to talk. Maroon stood slowly. They are not guessing, he said. They know exactly where we are, and they are not afraid. A council member asked, do we reply? No, Maroon said. We wait. But the human ship did not leave. It stayed, for hours, then days. It moved slowly, scanning the empty space as if looking for doors it already knew were there. One night, Tyrol stayed behind in the chamber. He watched the signal again, over and over. The human voice, the tone, the calm. Then he noticed something strange in the message. A code, hidden under the words. Tyrol decoded it. It said, Velos lives. Tyrol froze. His mind raced. Could it be true? Was Vilos still alive, hiding on Earth? Had he helped the humans become what they were now? He ran to Maroon. They know him, Tyrol said. He's not just a name. He's one of them now. Maroon's light flickered. Then the humans are no longer children. They are something else. Tyrol looked back at the signal. The voice still played. We come in peace. But under the words, beneath the calm, was a silence that felt like a storm, waiting to begin. The human ship didn't move. It stayed near the invisible line that marked the Zarnai's hidden space. It made no threats, no sudden moves. It sent the same calm message again and again. We come in peace. We only want to talk. But the Zarnai knew something was wrong. Tyrol stood inside the main watch chamber, staring at the screens. The ship looked small, but his scanners showed it was not weak. It had no weapons on the outside, but there was a strange energy inside it. It was like the ship was alive. "This is not human," Tyrol whispered. "Not fully." Other Zarnai agreed. The shape was too smooth, the power too clean. It was flying without noise, without heat. It didn't match anything humans had used before. Even their best space stations looked old and slow compared to this. Maroon stood behind Tyrol, quiet but watchful. "They learned from Vilos," he said. "They used what he gave them. And now they build machines even we cannot understand." Tyrol pointed at the scans. "This ship is half organic. It grows. It learns. It's not just flying, it's thinking." Suddenly, the human ship changed direction. Slowly, it moved forward, just a little across the invisible line. Zernai alarms rang through the station. Defense systems lit up. Ships uncloaked and aimed their weapons at the human vessel. But the ship did not stop. Then, it spoke again. "We detect 27 weapons locked onto us. We ask that you stand down. We will not fire unless attacked." Tyrol's breath caught in his chest. The humans knew everything. They saw the cloaked ships. They counted every weapon. They were not guessing. They were certain. "We have no choice," one Council E member said. "We must destroy it now before it goes further." Maroon held up his hand. "No, we made a vow. We do not kill without reason, not even now." "But what if this is a test?" Tyrol asked. "What if this ship is only the beginning?" They had no answer. Then the ship did something strange. Its surface shifted. A panel opened like skin peeling back. Inside, a bright blue light began to pulse. It wasn't a weapon. It wasn't an engine. It was a countdown. 10 seconds. 9. 8. "What is it doing?" a guard shouted. "It's activating something." Another cried. "Should we fire?" Tyrol asked, turning to Maroon. Maroon stayed silent. 3, 2, 1. The light vanished. The human ship sent a single word. "Scan." Tyrol blinked. "Scan? They scanned us?" He quickly checked the systems. All Zarnai ships had been scanned. Every detail, location, energy, design, even names had been copied and sent somewhere. "It was a deep scan," Tyrol said. "They didn't just look at us. They learned us." Maroon looked tired now. "They understand more than we do, and they want us to know it." The message played again. Same voice, calm and clear. "We come in peace, we only want to talk." But peace did not feel peaceful anymore. Later that night, Tyrol sat alone in his quarters, going through the human ship's data again. He slowed down the signal, frame by frame. Then he found something. Just for a moment, in the pulse of the countdown, a symbol had appeared. A circle with 3 stars. It was the mark of the old Zarnai explorers. The mark of Vilos. Tyrol's heart raced. "This ship is not just made with our tech. It carries his design." The humans had built something new, something dangerous, and they were using it to send a message. "We are not your children anymore." The next morning, another signal arrived. This one came from deep space near the edge of the Zarnai core worlds. Was short. "They are not alone. More are coming." The message carried the voice of a Zarnai scout. His ship was gone now. Only his words remained. Tyrol looked at Maroon. "What do we do?" Maroon stared into space. "They sent one ship to test our fear." "And we passed the test?" Tyrol asked. Maroon shook his head. "No, we failed." And far across the stars, the human ship sat quietly, waiting, watching, thinking. The countdown had ended, but the real beginning was just one signal away. Tyrol couldn't sleep. His thoughts kept returning to that symbol, the 3 stars, inside a circle. It was the explorer's mark, the mark of Vilos. The human ship had shown it for only a second, but that second changed everything. Vilos was not just a legend anymore. He was part of this. Maybe even leading it. Tyrol opened the old explorer files again. He searched through dusty records that no Zarnai had touched in centuries. Most of them were sealed. But he had clearance now. The council had given it to him the moment the human ship appeared. He found one report that chilled his core. Vilos, had once gone missing on a planet near Earth. The planet was poor in resources. The Zarnai had never returned to it. But the report showed something strange. A signal had been sent from that planet, long ago. A Zarnai signal. It had never been. Answered, Tyrol read the last line of the file, written in Vilos's own hand. They are not what they seem. If I do not return, do not fear me. Fear what I choose to become. Tyrol sat back, stunned. What had Vilos become? Had he merged with the humans? Had he given them the Zarnai's most powerful secrets? He took the report to Maroon, the elder, studied the writing with narrowed eyes. Vilos did not betray us, Maroon said. He believed in something stronger than our silence. He believed in connection. Tyrol shook his head. But now the humans use that connection to build weapons. Ships that think, ships that scan us without asking. Maroon's glow dimmed. Perhaps they learned more than we expected, but maybe we are the ones who refuse to learn. Before Tyrol could answer, a sharp alarm rang through the chamber. Another human ship had arrived. This one was even larger than the first. It looked like it had been grown, not built. Its skin shimmered with small lights, millions of them, like stars trapped beneath the surface, and it was not alone. 12 more ships followed it, surrounding the Zarnai's hidden boundary. None of them fired. None of them moved forward, but they sent a message. We know about the elders. Tyrol stared at the message in shock. Only the Zarnai used the word elders. Only their oldest kind, the first travelers between stars, were called that. Even young Zarnai had never seen the true elders. How do they know about them? One council member whispered. Tyrol had a guess. Vilos told them. The second message came just seconds later. We want to speak to one of them. Bring us an elder, or we will send our own. The council erupted in panic. They cannot speak to an elder. They are not ready. They'll twist the truth. Use it against us. Maroon said nothing. He turned and walked out of the chamber, motioning for Tyrol to follow. They entered a dark room deep within the station. The walls glowed with a soft blue light. In the center of the room stood a tall crystal, clear, glowing gently and pulsing, with slow energy. Inside it was an elder. Not dead, not alive, sleeping. His name is Sutha, Maroon said. He is one of the first Zarnai to touch the stars. He sleeps to preserve his knowledge. Tyrol stared at the crystal in awe. You want to wake him? Maroon looked tired. I want you to wake him. He will speak to you and only you. You have questions. He has answers. Tyrol touched the crystal. A hum filled the air. Then a soft voice echoed inside his mind. You have awakened me. What truth do you seek? Tyrol closed his eyes. He saw images of ancient Zarnai ships, of peaceful first contact missions, of stars being born. Then he saw Earth and Vilos. Sutha's voice whispered again. The humans were always going to rise. Vilos simply gave them the door. They chose to walk through it. Tyrol asked the question burning inside him. Are they dangerous? Sutha paused. They are not like us. They feel more, love more, hurt more, and when they fight they do not stop. But no, they are not dangerous yet. Tyrol opened his eyes. He turned to Maroon. I want to meet them, he said. Face to face. Maroon looked at him for a long moment, then nodded. Then you will go. An hour later, Tyrol stepped onto a small Zarnai envoy ship. It moved silently toward the first human vessel, the one that had sent the peaceful message. As he drew close, the ship opened like a flower, and inside, waiting for him, stood a figure, tall, calm, not fully human, not fully Zarnai. Vilos. He smiled. Welcome, he said. We have much to talk about. Tyrol stepped forward, not as a spy, not as a soldier, but as the first voice of peace in a war that hadn't started. Yet. The stars were quiet again, but not with fear, with waiting. After the Unmakers left, the galaxy didn't cheer. It didn't celebrate. It breathed, in silence, in disbelief, in survival. Many had died, many worlds were lost, but something had been gained too. Connection Tyrol stood at the edge of the Unity Star, watching the rebuilt star map. The systems were slowly coming back online. Communication between species was stronger than ever before. Where there had once been fear, now there was trust, but peace was not easy. Some Zarnai still whispered behind closed doors, "This isn't our way. We should have stayed hidden." Others disagreed. "If we hide again, we will disappear like those who came before." Among humans, the same debate began. Why risk helping aliens, some asked. Why give pieces of Earth away? But others knew the truth. Earth was still standing because of what they built together. The memory wave, the message of life, was not a weapon, but it was stronger than one. It had spoken to something even the Unmakers couldn't erase. Now, a council of mixed species sat together. Human, Zarnai, elders, even small, strange races from distant stars. They sat in a circle, not as rulers, but as listeners. Alina sat beside Tyrol. Her voice was calm, steady. "We have a chance now, a new chance, not to build armies, but to build bridges." Tyrol nodded. "And keep them strong when the silence comes again." Valos entered the room slowly. His eyes looked tired but peaceful. "I once thought we had to stay apart," he said. "But what lives must connect, or it fades." Maroon sent a message from the far Zarnai system. His time was ending, but his words were clear. The age of fear is over. Let the age of courage begin. The Unity Star became the first of many. Ships built not just to fly, but to carry hope, to carry stories, to protect what mattered. And then, something unexpected happened. A message arrived, not from the Unmakers, from the edge of the galaxy. "We saw what you did. We thought your kind was broken. Now we wonder if you are worth saving." It wasn't signed, no species name. Just a question. "What will you become when we return?" Tyrol read it again and again. He showed it to Alina, to Valos, to the council. No one had an answer, because this time the choice wasn't about survival. It was about identity. What kind of species did they want to be? One that feared the stars, one that ruled them, or one that listened and learned? Tyrol sent one message back, short and simple. "Come and see. We will be ready, not to fight, but to speak." Years passed. The Unity Star became a symbol. On many worlds, children painted its mark. 3 stars and 1. Rising, they learned about both human history and Zarnai legacy, and about the moment they stood together when it mattered most. Tyrol became an ambassador, not of one world, but of many. He visited planets once unknown. He met beings made of gas, of light of silence, and each time he shared the same truth. We chose to live not by killing, but by remembering. Alina became a builder. She created schools on planets where war once raged. She taught peace not as weakness, but as strength. Valos returned to the stars. His mission was not over. He searched for the next voice, the next race that might rise and need help before it was too late. And the Unmakers, they never came back, but their shadow never left. It stayed in the minds of those who remembered the silence and broke it. And that's what saved them. Not the ships, not the tech, not even the Alliance. It was the choice. The choice not to become monsters. The choice to protect, to connect, and to speak, when silence would have been safer. In the end, the galaxy didn't remember them as warriors. It remembered them as the species that refused to kill humans. Until it was too late. Too late to stop them from becoming something greater. Too late to stop them from uniting everything. Too late to break what had already begun. A future where no one stood alone. Not in war, not in silence, not in the stars. Tyrol stepped onto the human ship. The inside looked nothing like a machine. It felt alive. The walls moved slightly, breathing in silence. Light came from glowing veins in the floor and ceiling. The air was warm, calming. but Tyrol's heart beat fast. Vilo stood at the center of the room. He looked older than before. His body still held Zarnai shape, but his eyes, his voice, felt human now. "I knew the council would send someone," Valo said, "but I didn't think it would be you, Tyrol." Tyrol frowned. "You know me? I studied your work, even before you were born," Vilo said gently. "You see things others ignore. That's why I chose now. That's why I showed the mark." Tyrol stepped closer. "You broke the vow. You gave humans our knowledge. I gave them a chance," Valos replied. "Not weapons, not war, just understanding." Tyrol looked around. "They used that understanding to build ships like these?" Valos nodded. "Yes, but they never attacked. They never struck first. They reached out, while your council hides." Tyrol's voice lowered. "You could have warned us." "I did," Valos said, showing an old signal code. No one answered. There was silence between them. Then, from behind Valos, a human figure walked in. Young, calm, a woman with silver eyes and skin that shimmered like water. "This is Alina," Valos said, "the first to truly understand both our minds, part human, part something more." Alina stepped forward. "We're not here to fight. We only want one thing: truth." Tyrol studied her. She was confident but kind. Her voice carried no threat, yet something inside him stayed alert. "What truth?" Tyrol asked. Alina looked out a wide window where stars shone beyond. "The truth about what you left behind. The elder technology. The quiet war between silence and survival. We need to understand because something worse is coming." Tyrol narrowed his eyes. "Worse than us?" Valos nodded. "Yes, the ones who erased the others. The ones even the Zarnai fear. I met their trace in deep space. The humans will face them next." "And you think we'll help them?" Tyrol asked. "I think we'll have no choice," Valos said. Back on the Zarnai home station, alarms rang again. Another signal had arrived. Not from the humans. From somewhere much deeper. It was cold, strange, like metal scraping across time. A message burned into the Zarnai network. "We saw your light. We are coming to turn it off." The council froze. This signal wasn't human. It wasn't any race they had studied. Tyrol received the signal aboard the human ship. His hands shook. Valos leaned close. "Now you see." Tyrol looked at Alina. "You knew this would happen?" "We suspected," she said. "The moment we grew past Earth, they noticed. They hate change. They destroy what grows." Tyrol turned away. "Why not tell us sooner?" Alina's voice was quiet. "Would you have listened?" Tyrol sat down. The choices ahead were heavy. If he returned to the council, they might panic. They might attack the humans, or worse, ignore the warning. If he stayed with Valos, he might be called a traitor. "What do you want from me?" he asked. Valos smiled softly. "We want a bridge, someone who knows both sides, someone who can make them listen." Tyrol looked at the stars, then at the ships, the human fleet waiting quietly. He thought of the ancient vow, never touch younger races, never share Zarnai tech. But the humans were not children anymore. They had touched the stars, and they were not alone. Back on the Zarnai council station, Maroon stood before the chamber. "The time has come," he said. "We can no longer hide. The humans are not enemies, but something else is." The chamber split. Some agreed, some did not. One group wanted to join the humans. Another wanted to shut every gate, every signal, and vanish again. The vote would be made in one cycle. But far away, Tyrol had already chosen. He stepped onto a new ship, half Zarnai, half human. A symbol glowed on its side, 3 stars in a circle, with a 4th star rising. Tyrol sent one message to both species. "The past is over, the war has not begun. But if we do not stand together, we will fall alone." And in the dark edge of space, Something ancient moved, closer now, watching, listening, and waiting for them to stay divided. Just long enough to strike, the stars began to fade. Not from the sky, but from the maps. Tyrol stared at the deep space chart. 4 colonies had gone dark. No signals, no light, no debris, just silence. The unknown force had started its move. On the Zarnai station, panic spread. Some ships left their posts. Some citizens begged the council to hide again, erase their systems, bury themselves behind cloaks, pretend they never reached space. But Maroon stood firm. He looked at the data with quiet fear. They are not destroying, they are removing. Tyrol sent a direct message to Maroon. I've seen their trace, it's colder than space. They don't use weapons, they use gravity. They bend stars until they break. The message was shared with the council, but arguments broke out. Some still blamed the humans. They brought attention to our galaxy. They tampered with ancient systems. They woke things best left sleeping. Others saw the truth. The threat was older than both species, older than even the elders, and it was coming fast. Meanwhile, Tyrol worked closely with Vilos and Alina on a new kind of defense, something born from both human creativity and Zarnai precision. The ship they built together, the Unity Star, could cloak, heal, adapt, and carry thousands. It wasn't a warship, it was a last hope. One night, Alina stood beside Tyrol in the observation deck. Below them, humans and Zarnai worked side by side, building new technology, training, learning each other's ways. Do you think they'll listen? Alina asked. Tyrol didn't answer at first, then he said, only when the stars go completely silent. She looked at him. Then we don't have much time. Suddenly, an emergency signal cut through the ship. One of the forward scouts had vanished, an older Zarnai ship watching near the edge of known space. They checked its final recording. It showed something massive, a shape that didn't reflect light. It didn't move like a ship. It twisted space itself. Stars behind it bent and stretched. Then, nothing. The feed ended. The room was silent. Vilos spoke first. We call them the Unmakers, Alina whispered. They don't want control. They want emptiness. The council finally agreed to act, but it was too late for some. 2 more systems vanished within hours. Millions lost. Gone without a sound. Still others resisted. A powerful Zarnai fleet commander named Othal refused to join with humans. He declared the Human-Zarnai alliance a lie. We must protect ourselves, not carry their burden, he said. He took his fleet and vanished into deep space. Tyrol watched the recording of Othal's speech with sadness. Divided we fall, he said. Maroon answered simply, then we must rise united, even if others walk away. Back aboard the Unity Star, Alina activated a signal, broadcasting across all known frequencies. A simple message: we do not run, we stand. Together. To everyone's surprise, responses came. Not just from humans, not just from Zarnai, but from smaller races, outcasts, explorers, even pirate ships and old machines buried in asteroid belts. One by one, ships began to appear, old, new, patched together with hope and fear. They didn't bring power. They brought voices. The message grew louder. And then they came, the Unmakers. Their ships didn't fly. They folded. They bent. They erased the space between stars. They didn't fire. They simply arrived, and everything stopped working. Engines died. Weapons failed. Shields collapsed. One by one, defense lines broke, until the Unity Star stood alone. Then something unexpected happened. The Human-Zarnai vessel didn't fall. It adapted. The hybrid core inside responded to the Unmakers differently. Instead of fighting, it absorbed part of the attack, learned from it, echoed it back. A strange energy burst from the ship, not a weapon, but a memory. A sound, old, deep. Zarnai songs mixed with human music, emotion, memory. The Unmakers paused, just for a moment, and in that moment, Tyrol saw a chance. He sent a final message across the fleet. Don't fire. Don't flee. Show them what we are. Show them why we live. All ships began broadcasting memories. Songs, stories, laughter, birth, death, learning, hope. The stars filled with noise, not of war, but of life. And the unmakers retreated. Not far, not forever. But they pulled back, and the stars lit up again. The silence was broken, but Tyrol knew it wouldn't last. This was not victory. This was a warning. They had survived, the first touch, and the final part of the story had yet to be written.